Hello everyone, Chrissy here at A Little Glam, A Lot of Mom. In today's video, I'm sharing our homeschool plans, what we're currently up to, what's staying, and what's new in 2023. A preface, especially for anyone who's new today, I'm a homeschool mom of 5 children ages 6 to 17. We are year-round homeschoolers, so we break as needed several times through the year. That means that on this channel, you won't see the traditional fall to summer homeschooling rhythm or plans or curriculum. So together we've built a rhythm for the new year, and that's what I'm sharing today. All right, so let's begin oldest and end with youngest. My teens are currently working on environmental science, Comp 101, CAD programming, language arts 3, chemistry, American history, Spanish 3, and yes, that is a lot, but not all of that is done in 1 year, some more and some less. Some of you may know they recently started with a dual enrollment program, so 2 of these classes they are taking on a part-time basis at a local college campus. They're also continuing with internships, volunteer work, and extracurriculars, in addition with a SAT and ACT study group. At home, we have changed our history to Beautiful Feet, diving into American history. This does say 7th to 9th grade, but again, we ignore those boxes, and so we've done some things out of order. Beautiful Feet is exactly the guide we were looking for, and I'm not sure what we were thinking looking to a textbook previously. This guide is not only flexible enough to explore, but it encourages rabbit trails with a list of supplemental readers and online resources. There are activities and handicraft suggestions, like in this colonial period unit, we're building a model of Jamestown. There's archery and growing tulips. There are creative writing prompts and research info in this, which is one of the biggest components for high school. It's clear as to why this has been a good fit for us so far. But of course, in our truest fashion, we're interweaving Beautiful Feet American history with Our America, a Hispanic history of the United States by Felipe Fernandez Armesto. This is a shared reader/read aloud, and it reads, "The increasingly Hispanic profile of the United States calls for a new American history with its Hispanic dimension restored. With characteristic wit and insight, Felipe Fernandez Armesto scrapes away layers of Anglocentrism to expose a fresh, compelling Hispanic past." I mentioned in my last teen video update that we have started the New Answers Book 1. Over 25 questions and discussions on creation, evolution, and the Bible. Evolution, intelligent design, creation, or a little of all 3. What do you really believe, and why does it matter to your life, your family, and your faith today? Contents. Is there really a God? Why shouldn't Christians accept millions of years? Couldn't God have used evolution? Don't creationists deny the laws of nature? What about the gap and ruin reconstruction theories? Cain's wife, who was she? In my last teen update video, I also mentioned that Ailani is reading through, and she's still working her way through Guns, Germs, and Steel. It's a bit environmental history, geography, social and cultural evolution for sure. She's enjoying it. I've skimmed through it, and I'm not sure what to think of it, but it's interesting for sure. The teens are also working their way through College Essay Essentials, a step-by-step guide to writing a successful college admissions essay. So it says writing a college admission essay doesn't have to be stressful. College counselor Ethan Sawyer, aka the College Essay Guy, will show you that there are only 4 types of college admission essays. All you have to do to figure out which type is best for you is answer 2 simple questions. And another required reader, this one is for research and conservation class. Switch, how to change things when change is hard. Why is it so hard to make lasting changes in our companies, in our communities, and in our own lives? It says, in a compelling story-driven narrative, the Heaths bring together decades of counterintuitive research in psychology, sociology, and other fields to shed new light on how we can effect transformative change. What my teens are reading. So my son just read this for a student athlete course I put together for him, and my daughter will be reading it next. Furia, a novel, is about a young girl, Camila Hassan, and she leads a double life. At home in Argentina, she's a careful daughter living with her mother's narrow expectations and in the shadow of her soccer star brother. But on the field, she is La Furia, a powerhouse of skill and talent. And when her team qualifies for the South American tournament, Camila gets the chance to see just how far her talents can take her. Ailani just finished House Rules, a novel by Jodi Picoult, and she says that it's a must-read. She wants me to read it next. It says, when your son can't look you in the eye, does that mean he's guilty? Jacob Hunt is a teen with Asperger's syndrome. He's hopeless at reading social cues or expressing himself well to others, though he is brilliant in many ways. But he has a special focus on one subject, forensic analysis. A police scanner in his room clues him into crime scenes, and he's always showing up and telling the cops what to do. All right, and that's all that is going on, and that has changed since my last teen video. So let's move on to the younger three. The kids and I created a new looping rhythm, and so I thought that I'd take you through that as I'm showing you what we're keeping and what's new. So our everyday is Bible, independent or shared reading, read-alouds, and outside time. We have a fresh stack of read-alouds to carry us through a few months of 2023 anyway. Our current read-aloud is the Chronicles of Narnia, Book 2, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. The second book to author Grace Lin's fantasy trilogy inspired by Chinese folklore. The first book, Where the Mountain Meets the Moon, was marvelous, and we're excited to jump into this. The second book is Starry River of the Sky, and a synopsis here is the moon is missing from the remote village of Clear Sky, but only a young boy named Rendy seems to notice. Rendy has run away from home and is now working as a chore boy at the village inn. He can't help but notice the village's peculiar inhabitants and their problems. A short, light read, but a classic, E.B. White Stuart Little, and Masterpiece by Elise Broach. And it reads, Martin lives with his family under the kitchen sink in the Pompiday's apartment. He is very much a Beatle. James Pompiday lives with his family in New York City. He is very much an 11-year-old boy. After James gets a pen and ink set for his birthday, Marvin surprises him by creating an elaborate miniature drawing. James gets all the credit for the picture. So it's kind of giving us Ratatouille vibes, but in an artist, not chef setting or character. We're very excited about this. And independent readers, Bella is currently reading through A Dog's Porpoise. A rambunctious mutt and a curious porpoise become best pals in this adorably charming story about a friendship and family. She loves animal adventure stories, and this wasn't on our list. However, she found it, wanted to read it, and so now we've made it part of the readers for our oceanography study. And Noah is just starting the Magic Treehouse book series this year, and he has chosen this order based on the stack of Treehouse books that we do own. Now that we have all the read-alouds and readers out the way, let's start with Loop 1. My requirement is one completion from the list, their choice. However, because we have created this loop rhythm together and chosen the topics and resources together, there isn't too much objection to more learning in the day after that first requirement. In Loop 1, there's language arts, and here are the resources the kids could choose from for language arts. The Narnia, the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe Family Literature Guide by Hearth Magic. Side note, if you're curious as to why I've decided to read the Narnia series, I'm going to insert a conversation from the comment section of my last video, The Day in the Life. You'll find my response to someone's comment about my discernment and Christianity in there. So if you're curious, go read that. These family literature guides are wonderful tools for immersive learning. The main work is done in a main lesson block book where we do character journaling, writing, discussion, copy work, and more. And within each chapter, there are hands-on activities. In chapter 4, for example, we begin map work with making a map of Narnia. I'm super excited for that. We love map work. In chapter 5, we study the anatomy of a snowflake. We take meditative walks. There's a spring scavenger hunt prompt, observing a plant bulb. Amber, the creator of the guide, also includes suggestion activities for younger ones and how to involve them. I've been sharing about these family literature guides by Hearth Magic for years. It's been a while since we've actually paired one with our read aloud and completed one. We're very excited to start our year with this new adventure. We're also continuing with reading journals. The kids have really enjoyed these to go along with their independent readers. We've been utilizing these menu choices reading prompts I found on Teachers Pay Teachers. I'll link it down below. A few other supplemental resources for language arts will continue with vocabulary through either our read alouds, the glossary of books we're reading, or this resource, Word of the Day by Primary Concepts. Noah is working on grammar, and he's still loving these Star Wars Mad Libs for parts of speech. He is also loving the first illustrated grammar and punctuation by Usborne. We're just working through this as I did with Bella, reading through it and working on the exercises and prompts together out loud. It's colorful and engaging and loads more fun than a language arts curriculum or textbook. And we haven't started this yet, but this is for Bella later on this year, the Usborne Creative Writing Book, and I'll briefly read the contents. So there's creating characters, bringing characters to life, draw a map of the places in a story you'd like to write, X because of Y, dialogue, sell, points of view, everyone's a critic, write a book review, create a comic. It says unlock your ideas with this inspiring book. You'll find prompts and tips to help you create poems, comics, reviews, stories, blogs, scripts, and more. There's lots of space for you to write in, but no scary blank pages. Just take a look at how fun and colorful and engaging, a little bit busy, but that's okay. We're going to work through this together, and I think that she's going to enjoy this a lot. In Loop 1, we also have history, and the young ones are also diving into early American history with beautiful feet. The materials needed for this are a main lesson block book and the recommended literature. Similar to my teens, we're also weaving in a Hispanic American history with this resource as inspiration, a kid's guide to Latino history. In this guide, there's information, recipes, and craft suggestions. So the gap between my oldest and my youngest is a big one. My teens are evolving into young adults and down to the last year and change before they just might be off exploring their adult lives. While my young ones are just beginning, so no, while we can't work on the same math skills together, our homeschool is still unified and a schoolhouse through exploring and immersing in the same topics or studies, especially the ones that are meaningful and in connection to our family, such as our heritage, literature, Bible, nature, life skills. So yes, while my teens are requiring a whole other level and skill of academics and rigor as they're preparing for their adult lives, we refuse to have that division in our household, and we're still finding ways to continue to learn and do life together. And handwriting is in our Loop 2. However, I just wanted to show this now because it is to go with early American history. Bella will be working out of this Draw Right Now book 5 for handwriting. Noah does need a little bit more supplement for letter formation, so he'll have that through more form drawing. During a rainforest study last year, Bella worked her way through the Draw Right Now book 7, Animals of the World Part 1, Forest Animals, and she loved it. Oceanography is also part of Loop 1. I've made an entire video about putting together this oceanography main lesson block. I'll link a card up here and in the description box below just in case you're interested in that video. All right, let's jump into Loop 2, math. We're continuing with our living math approach, still working through the super fun Math in the Garden, and I also stopped sharing about it being that it's not in print anymore. However, something that I will share are these fun math outdoor task cards that I found on Teachers Pay Teachers, and we'll be weaving them in for more outdoor math fun. There's a total of 64 tasks in 8 math topics such as measurement, circles, symmetry, being healthy, shapes, number, geometry, and design. So for example, task card number 50 in geometry says, find an example of each of these angles in nature. 45 degrees, 60 degrees, 90 degrees, 180 degrees. Draw the angles using a protractor or ruler and add a picture of what you found. So we will be journaling, probably just using a main lesson block book. And I also picked up this large clipboard with a handle for our outdoor math days. And this set also includes these action planning sheets for the students to list the materials and steps needed for the task. All right, you'll see that in loop 2, we also have agreed on Spanish, and I still haven't been able to discern in what approach or with what resource, if any, I should outsource. I'm bilingual and fluent, and it's an odd and kind of embarrassing thing to explain, but I do need some structure for this. It doesn't just come naturally for me to teach it. If you have any suggestions, I'd love to hear them. Science, and so the kids are asking for more STEM activities, so that's the type of science that we'll be doing in loop 2. I found this book by Smithsonian, and I'll read off some of the categories for the projects: food for thought, around the home, water world, the great outdoors, nature watch, world of weather, water power, earth, and sky. So what we're enjoying about this is the step-by-step instructions along with photography. And then there's also a how it works explanation for each project, revealing the science behind it and showing the science in action in real life. And again, handwriting is included in loop 2 as well. And I've already shared that we'll continue to do copy work and continue with another book of draw right now. So we also have a weekly loop, and in that, handicrafts, which will be interwoven into a main lesson block like oceanography or history. We also usually do handicrafts in our seasonal work. Poetry is also found in our seasonal binder and work. Art through marine biology, again, the details about that are in the oceanography video, but basically we're exploring different art mediums through marine biology. Right now, our project is sculpting with paper mache. And finally, nature journaling. So for nature journaling, we're continuing Florida Nature School and our pursuit to become Florida Master Naturalists. We're working through Florida's Nature Guide by Chick Unibrew. This is a 48-week curriculum aligned with Florida's nature cycles. Each week's lesson is broken down into 5 categories: introduce, so nature journal, make, observe, read, and discuss, and review. So we meet with homeschool friends once a week, and that's the best part about it. But we also do enjoy how flexible and gentle this guide is, and we can modify any of the lessons or activities and handicraft recommendations. Another thing that we were drawn into and that we love about this guide is that there are living book recommendations and links as well. Once we've completed all 4 seasons of the Florida Guide, I want to continue teaching and instilling the habits of nature journaling. So I'm rereading Keeping a Nature Journal by Clara Walker Leslie and working on the habit of nature journaling for myself. For nature, we're also continuing with our Naturalist Family Badge project. This is a project we started last year, where together we design a badge and come up with challenges we must complete in order to earn the badge. Then I make badges out of felt with some embroidery or more felting embellishments. For example, we were supposed to earn this mushroom badge over the fall, but didn't quite meet the challenge. So that's rolling over this month of January. We are tracking and logging the moon phases, and upon completion, we can add it to our badge tapestry. And our newest badge and challenge is a hiking one, 2 miles of hiking in 2 weeks before the end of February. And while we're on this pursuit of being a Florida Master Naturalist, once we've completed the Florida Nature Guide by Chick Unibrew, we're going to work on Florida history and social studies. Although we have been rabbit trailing a little bit here and there, and I found this book at a used bookstore, but it's by McGraw-Hill Education. Again, not necessarily using it cover to cover, workbook style, but mostly for the reading portion. And finally, our seasonal binder. For the last year, I've shared a look into my seasonal binders, and I'll link those videos for you. In them, I organize printables for the seasons, such as fun nature unit studies, copywork, tracing sheets, coloring pages, seasonal poetry, and any guides to festivals, holidays, or celebrations. Last month, I shared a look into the Christmas-related resources I had in the binder, and now that I've removed our holiday-related resources, we're left with a few more for winter. Valentine's Day last year, I built a little unit study around this book, The Valentine Bears, where we discussed hibernation. So if you're looking for a sweet book to build a Valentine's nature-inspired study around, I recommend that one. Of course, we'll continue to celebrate Valentine's Day this year as we do every year as El Día del Amor y la Amistad in Colombia, the Day of Friendship and Love. But this year instead, we're focusing on a study on Candlemas. In this guide by Hearth Magic, Amber encourages us mothers to meditate and find our personal and unique connections to Candlemas. So we'll take the handcraft activities and nature from this guide. So we find our connection to Candlemas and we'll celebrate that it is the halfway point to spring, looking forward to the changes of the season, warmth, hope, renewing of life through God and His light. All right, and finally down to my wee one, Luna, who just turned 6 years old. While she is welcome to join us and she tags along through our entire day of learning, I do dedicate about 30 minutes, maybe a little bit more of time to her daily just to fill her cup. So her and I have started working through The Adventures of Fairy Tales by Hearth Magic because we're learning about letter sounds and preparing her for reading. Now, I did make an entire video dedicated to Luna's second year of kindergarten, which is what we're in now if we were to break it down in grade levels anyway. And so I'll link that so that you can go and watch that. But basically, the fairy tales, it's a guide of 3 days. And in those 3 days, you're telling the fairy tale story. You're working on recipes and some handicraft and activities for pre-reading. Luna was gifted this beautiful book, A World Full of Animal Stories, 50 Folktales and Legends. And so she's been loving it. We've been reading through it as kind of like an opening activity. Even her older 2 siblings are joining along. This beautiful book of stories, it takes readers on a journey around the world with 50 best-loved tales featuring creatures big and small. And it's just absolutely stunning. She was also gifted this fun wooden hands-on analog clock. I believe it's by Melissa and Doug. So she's just been fully motivated and inspired to work through this clock. And so through it, we're learning the order of these numbers, the value of these numbers. We're skip counting by 5s, and of course, learning all about time and analog clocks. All right, friends, we've made it to the end. And if you're still here with me, thank you for listening and following along. I'm not sure if you guys do enjoy these like updates, what's happening in our homeschool and planning types of videos. So if you do or you don't, give me a thumbs up or let me know in the comment section down below. I'd also love to know what you're up to for 2023. I'm wishing you a blessed, hopeful, healthy year.